Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on this Thursday after. Well, it's kind of between morning and afternoon, so thanks for joining us this morning. And you guys are already in the heart of the first week. It's hard to believe that it's the day before Friday, and you already got into getting used to the platform, getting used to all of the wonderful things that we have to offer, like emails and announcements and all your assignments. I do want to start off by saying that I I'm amazed. The discussion board for this week is just there. There's so much good stuff that I'm reading, and the interaction with each other is just amazing. And I do hope that it's not just the honeymoon phase and it's the first week and everyone's gung ho. I really hope that this sense of community and having that connection with each other spills over throughout the entire month. It's really important to build those relationships and build that support mechanism to keep you motivated. You you have each other to support and keep each other motivated. Be each other's accountability partners. So I love it. I love to see that already. I already started reading the stories from the first discussion board. And with that said, we'll go into a little bit review and then go into some of the concepts. So the first thing is I hope you all went into the announcements and um, registered for Safari Books. The link is right on under the announcements and started reading the chapters. For what I'm seeing on the discussion boards, many of you have been so proactive already, and you're even quoting Nancy. So I couldn't ask for anything more. That makes my heart happy. I'm a nerd like that. I'm an educator, and when I see referencing and research, it makes me happy. So, thank you for that. So, as you guys know, if you have been introduced to her or you haven't got there yet, Nancy Duarte is our author. When I was in the meeting and they said that she was going to be our author, I had to pinch myself because she's fantastic. I followed her before. I love her philosophy about presentation, her outlook on um, just everything that you can incorporate to make it your own and make it okay. As you guys are probably seeing on the discussion board, anxiety plays a huge role in public speaking. And it doesn't have to be that way. It's shifting our mind, it's shifting our presentation. If you haven't already, her bio, and it's about, I think it's a little over 2 minutes, and it's fascinating. It just goes through her idea for this whole thing and her background. And even though it's less than 3 minutes, it's chock filled with information. You get insight to how her mind works and her philosophy for this entire month. So if you get a chance, the bio video is located in the books that you download from Safari, along with the other videos that you can watch. Okay, so week one discussion board. The initial post was due last night at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you have not posted, please post. Allow myself and your classmates to go in and interact with you. It's the nature of the discussion board. The initial post is really to initiate discussion. And that's why we have you do it in the middle of the week, because it allows that interaction. It allows for your instructor and or your classmates to conversate with you, maybe even ask any questions, even give insight to how you could elaborate on your story if you're missing anything. So if you have not done so, please post your initial post on the discussion board as soon as possible. Do you guys have any questions on the discussion board before we move on? Sweet. Okay, so we're on the same page. I didn't think so because like I said, all three sections are like incredible. It's incredible that all three of my sections are so proactive and talking to each other. I love it. Okay, so assignment 1 on Tuesday morning, which is pretty much my protocol. So after we do our session on Monday night, I render the video and post it to or upload it to my YouTube channel, and then I post a weekly email and announcement. In that weekly email and announcement, and I call it either week 1 breakdown, week 2, and you get the gist. And in that announcement / email is supplemental links that can help you with your assignment. The recorded session from Monday night, and also some suggestions. So the week 1 assignment has to do with TED Talks, and on Monday night I suggested that you go to TED.com and look it over and research some TEDs that might interest you. This infographic is really a simple breakdown of what should be included in the assignment. On that announcement, there's a link to a short video that goes through this whole thing. So I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but this infographic really is the bare bones of what you need. So why am I addressing this? I'm getting some questions about the 10 qualities and the layout and incorporating images and all that good stuff. So what needs to be included is, first you need 3 TED Talks that you're going to evaluate. And with those 3 TED Talks, you should find an image that is going to complement what you found in the TED Talk. So this could range anywhere from maybe a screenshot of the video, or it could be something like the presenter was talking about the mythical powers of unicorns, and you go and find an image about a unicorn. That is complementary to what goes on in the presentation. Make sense? Sweet. And by the way, unicorns are awesome. So if you decide to just put a unicorn in your presentation, I will not be offended. It'll actually make me smile. So, so each of the TED Talks is where you are going to give this evaluation. The purpose of this assignment is, and you'll find when we start to go through the concepts today, the purpose of this assignment is to put you in the shoes of an audience. So by being the audience member, by being the spectator and watching the presentation and taking away things that the presenter does that you can adopt and incorporate, is a way for you to understand the audience. So in order to become the mentor and address an audience, you first need to understand what an audience needs and wants. So by watching these presentations, you're going to start to feel alert and observe what you need as an audience member in order to stay engaged, in order to walk away with an education, or in order to walk away with something that you can take and share. Okay? So TED Talks is all about spreading ideas, and that concept of spreading ideas is essentially what a mentor is supposed to do. You are giving your idea into the universe, planting the seed so your audience can take that seed and spread it beyond the four walls of the presentation. Cool? And yes, Mario, do it. I would love pictures of unicorns. Absolutely. Okay. So, and then comes the 10 qualities. So there's some confusion with that, and it's okay. I get asked this question all the time. But it's 10 qualities total. So it's not 30 qualities that you have to come up with for each of the TEDs. It's 10 qualities total overall. The only thing I'm looking for when you provide these 10 qualities is that you're using specific examples from the presentation to illustrate the quality that you share with us. So for instance, if you feel that captivating is a quality that you would like to adopt, and you observed in your presenters, then I want a specific example from any one of the three TEDs, or it could be all of them, it could be two of them, it could be one of them, any one of the TEDs, um, an example of the presenter being captivating. So give me a how or a why you felt the presenter was captivating. Cool? Cool. Okay, so again, this is bare bones. If you are looking at the rubric, this would meet the requirements. And meeting the requirements isn't a bad thing, it's not a bad grade. However, if you are shooting for exceptional, if you're shooting for that A plus, then you are going to incorporate more than the three images that are required. You will elaborate on your valuation. You will use more than one example to illustrate the concept. Does that make sense? Cool. Okay, and then I got some questions on naming conventions, which you guys jumped the gun a little bit, but here it is. It's nice and neat for you in an infograph, and this is pretty standard throughout the entire program. So you have your last name, first name, assignment name or assignment number, and in parentheses I gave you example. So mine would be Pearson underscore Trish underscore a 1.4. Aaron, there is not. That's a great question, but there is not. There isn't a minimum word count or a minimum amount of minutes for a video presentation. That will come in time. There will be some requirements as you go on in the month, but for this assignment there is not. And that's a great question. Okay. So this guy right here, Geoffrey James, he is the CEO of Salesforce. And the reason why I bring him up is his philosophy on presentation mirrors Nancy Duarte's philosophy on presentation. The contrast is Joffrey James is a CEO of a corporation, of a business. Nancy is more about, um, you know, the creative story and personal brand. The cool thing is the concepts or the idea of using a story works both in a corporate business form and a creative platform. So it's showing you that this is effective in all aspects of the industry. So whether you are going to be a coder, a business manager, a sportscaster, or a recording artist, it's the story. You are going to communicate with others. You are going to present. We actually present every single day, even in conversation. We're presenting our identity and who we are every time we speak. So it really, it doesn't have to be so nerve-wracking. It doesn't have to be scary because we innately tell stories. We already do this. And uh, finding ways to make those stories strong is the challenge, and that is what this journey through this month is all about. It's all about that process and finding value in that process. So I'll ask you guys, and I'm going to preface this with, I want you to think of the very basics. So I'm asking for the very basics when I ask this question. I'm looking for the foundation of a story. What elements are needed in order to have a foundation to start a story? Yes, yes. And I think, is it Kayla? I know it's spelled a little bit awesome, so I got that right. So yes, Kayla, and I think that you've been reading, so awesome. And the very basic elements of a story is that it has a beginning, middle, and end. And that, my friends, is the start. So when you're thinking about a story and you're thinking about a presentation, if you have these components on a page, that is the beginning of your planning. So you have these up on the top of the page and you're branching off from there. But as if you identify these three elements, you have your foundation and you're ready to start. Okay, I usually give this as an activity for my students to do. How many of you guys have had Mad Libs before? And it might be outdated. I don't think it is, because I went to my friend's book fair with her kids and they were there. So how many people have had a book of Mad Libs before? Awesome. So really what this is it gives you practice on telling a story and having transitions. So Mad Libs gave you the story and then had blanks in between. And you had to come up with words or phrases, nouns, adjectives, verbs, to make up the story. Many times it was really funny because you didn't really know what the story was before you picked your words. So this is very similar, and I encourage you guys to practice this and share it with each other. It's a very simple exercise, but it gets you starting to think about how the beginning of story, what happens in the middle, and having a resolution at the end. Aaron, you don't have to be embarrassed. Not everybody knows. Uh, not everybody knows what Mad Libs are, but it's cool. This is a basic page that you would probably see if you had a book of Mad Libs. However, it is adjusted to make you understand Duarte-isms. So, um, it starts off once upon a time. It has you name the hero. There's a goal and action. There's always obstacles that you have to encounter along your journey. And then there is a result based on your decisions and your actions that you made. So if you think of your life story, that's essentially what you are reflecting on this month. Okay, so my advice is go and practice this in like your free time, and ask your roommate, ask your friends to read your story and really look at the transitions and how really easy it is to tell a story if you pay attention to the elements. Um, Mario, you can actually, I believe that you can do it when you're watching this. It's tab command 4, and that didn't do it. But if you want me to send a screenshot of this, please message me and remind me, and I will do that for you. No problem. Okay, so what does this mean when it comes to the concepts of our book? Many of you have already started reading Resonate, which is amazing. And Nancy talks about the anatomy of a sparkline. And the sparkline is something that she came up with to illustrate the movement of a presentation and what should be included and what you should um, what you should encounter when building your story. Oh, Mario, yeah, of course you have my permission. No worries. But if it doesn't work and you need them, just let me know and I'll send them. Okay, so what she starts to talk about is the contrast between what is and what could be. And it goes along the line with some elements of the hero's journey and telling that story. So beginning, if you think of the call to adventure, and your call to adventure right now is that moment that you realized you were going to embark on the path that you're currently on. Okay, so what I like to do is tell my students, because it is the very beginning, we're only in the first week, and you are going to build towards a final presentation, but I don't want you to think about that yet. I want you to start to value that it's all a process. So the first thing that I want you to think about is the beginning, is your call to adventure. The way that I paint this is sometimes, majority of the time, we don't realize that revelation until we're out of that moment. reflection is something that is so important on your journey to mastery. So mastering your craft and mastering your personal brand has to do a lot with reflection. So having the ability to step outside of yourself and reflect back on all that you've done is essential. It's essential. Your call to adventure, even though you may think that it was the day that you decided to come to Full Sail, that is a part of it, but it actually probably happened somewhere in your childhood. And it could have been simply you were sitting in the middle of your living room and you were looking up at the big screen watching Toy Story. And Buzz Lightyear and Woody were on the screen right before your eyes. And you felt like you were in the room with them. And you felt like, or they made you feel like you were their friend and they were your friend. In that moment, you had an epiphany and something inside you awoke where you had, it didn't come out yet, but later on in life, you decided, I want to make characters like this. I want to create this atmosphere, or I want to create friends that my audience will fall in love with. And that's why I'm on a path to be a computer animator. That's why I'm on the path to be a creative writer to create these characters. That's why I'm on the path to be a game designer to build worlds. Do we get this? So that is what I'm looking for. I want you to first start with finding that moment for yourself. And now I'm seeing in the chat box, some of you it's movies, some of you it's a book, some of you it's a recording artist or a song. Absolutely, because that is where your heart is, and your audience is going to want to connect to your heart. Cool? Awesome. So that's what I want you to start with. Everything else will follow, I promise, but we're not going to go there yet. So once you have, and I'm going to generalize here, but once you have your call to adventure, that is what is. What could be is the contrast, your middle. It's how you're going to use the journey here at Full Sail to fulfill your dreams. How are you going to get proactive in the industry community to build your credibility and reputation? How are you going to be proactive in maybe your church or your community centers, or even the community that you build on Connect with other people and other creatives? So all this is going to be your contrast. Your contrast is your journey. It's the journey that you have decided to embark on, and everything that you are going to take advantage of while you're here. And the end is the call to action. So ultimately, regardless of your path, regardless of the topic of your presentation, the call to action is making your audience make a decision on you. So really, it's about, what do you want them to do when they leave your presentation? Do you want them to spread your idea? Do you want them to build a relationship with you? And all these things will make sense once we go through the the different choices that you have for your final presentation. Ultimately, for this class and for the rest of your life, the call to action is, or the purpose of a presentation is building relationships. You're building a relationship with your audience. You want them to take what you're saying and help you spread it, through the world. So your call to action is building that relationship. Are you guys with me so far? Sweet. Okay, this right here is in your books, and it's Nancy does an awesome thing by sharing videos. So this really goes through the hero's journey, well, the writer's journey, very similar to the hero's journey. And this is Chris Vogler. I have studied Joseph Campbell when I went through the MFA program, even in my undergrad. Like, Joseph Campbell is my dude. But very, all the gurus out there have very similar things to tell. And it's a well worth it to look through these videos and understand where you fit in your journey. So it's a really cool way to kind of map out what your plans are going to be. So yes, if you have the time, go check it out. They're not even a minute each one, and a very interesting way to put in perspective your own journey. Okay, why are my slides so off? My goodness, I'm not showing good etiquette here. Not etiquette. There we go. Wow, my slides are off. Even Yoda's off. So forgive me while I fix that. Okay, so meeting the hero, and I'm glad I'm getting smiles. He's definitely an awesome image. So meeting the hero. My friends, who is the hero? According to your reading, or according to your insightful wisdom, who is the hero? Yes, and it is the audience. So now I'm probably gonna stump you, because I'm that 5-year-old that pulls on your pants leg and asks, why? Why is the sky blue? Why is the grass green? Why do cows moo? So I'm gonna ask you, why is the audience the hero? Awesome, because they're the ones that will help with the call to action. Without an audience, presenters don't matter. Well, essentially, because then you'll just be in a room with no one, right? But absolutely, yeah, they are the ones that are going to take the seeds that you plant and bring your idea into fruition. Make things happen, make a decision on you. Yeah, you want them to take your idea and act on it. Whether you're motivating them into uh, a movement, or you're projecting to a panel of creatives that you want them to join you in your quest to build something amazing, or you're talking to executives of a company that you desire to work for. You want them to make a decision on you, and ultimately that is to connect with you and build a relationship. So absolutely, the audience is the hero. So meeting the mentor. The mentor is what you aspire to become by the end of this month. So teach you I will. The mentor is the guide. So you are not the hero in the sense that you're giving information, you're educating, you're motivating. You are not the hero. What you are is a guide. You are guiding your audience through your presentation so they'll make a choice on you. Think of yourself as the GPS system. You are putting in the coordinates and guiding your audience in the direction that you want them to go. This is not an easy task by all means, and it's what this month is about. I'm grooming you this entire month to be the mentor and understand what that means and what your role is. So, I usually use the analogy of, and many of you might not know of life without Siri or a GPS system, but there are some that remember a time where technology wasn't readily available and we had to use maps, so we had to use our brain or recollection of places that we've been to. So this is how I equate it. As the mentor, you have been to these places several times, almost as if you're on autopilot and you don't remember how you got there. You just get there. You get to your destination. You get to work. You get to your apartment. You get to your best friend's house. It's just something innately that you get in the car, you go, and the next thing you know, you're there already. Now, if somebody that has never been to that destination before asked you for directions, it's pretty hard. It's extremely hard to give them what they need, because when someone has not been to a destination before, what do they need in order to get there? Yes, of course they need directions, but how do they need directions? I know this is tough because I'm asking you to think about this. What do you think they need in their directions in order to get there correctly? Shannon, yes, exact directions, including landmarks. So if you equate yourself with giving directions to a place that you've been a billion times, you have to understand that your audience doesn't know everything that you know. So you need to guide them there. So you need the names of streets. You need the after the third stop sign, make a left. You need landmarks. That's what you need in your presentation. You need those details in order to guide your audience to that destination. You need to make them understand what your purpose is, what your mission is, and lead them to that call to action and get them to want to build a relationship with you. Understood? Yes, Mario. So you are the GPS system. How cool is that? Okay, so how do you relate to your audience? There's several ways. I'll ask you guys, How do you relate to an audience? Emotions. Awesome. Memory, passion. Love it. Okay, so let's go with the emotions, okay? So we have shared experiences. Now, emotions are universal. Emotions are something that we all feel as human beings. It makes us humans instead of androids. The fact that we can feel things is makes us Homo sapiens, and that's what connects us all together. Now, it doesn't mean that we've had the exact same experiences as each other. What it does mean is that we experience emotions together. We've all cried, we've all laughed, we've all felt bliss and fear and anxiety, happiness, all of the emotions we have felt at one time or another. So shared experiences or stories makes us relate to each other because it puts this picture in our head and makes us recollect when we have been in that situation. And empathy comes into play where we can relate to each other. Make sense? Common goals. So knowing your audience for all these things are key. Common goals, if you need a definitive thing to happen after that presentation, like being hired by a company or um, making a movie. We all know that it takes a village to make a movie, or it takes a village to make a video game. I'm sure you guys have seen what credits look like after a movie concludes, or even after a game concludes. So knowing your audience and finding those common goals and illustrating the fact that together you can make those things happen. And then, of course, we have qualifications. Now, qualifications kind of make my students' throats close. I understand that because you are at the very beginning stages of your journey here. Somebody, and the chat box goes really fast, so I don't know who it was, but I saw the word research and my heart skipped a beat because research really is empowering. I know that sometimes it's a bad word, especially if you are in 11th grade and have to write a research paper. I've been there both as a student and a teacher, giving it out as an assignment as a teacher. But research doesn't have to be a bad word. It's very empowering. Knowledge is power. So if I get excited about learning new things. It gives me ammunition. It gives me something to not fight the world, but I just to cope, I think. Just understanding my environment, understanding my purpose, understanding my goals. So qualifications entails research. And the fact that you guys are on this path and you made the decision to come to Full Sail, you have a world ahead of you of skills and experience and knowledge to gain. So it's all up to you on how you want to handle that and how you want to take advantage. So you are qualified in the sense that you embarked on this journey to get qualified. Does that make sense? Awesome. So one of my goals is to make you excited about your journey and give you the confidence that you will gain what you need to make things happen. Okay, so in your books, there are 4 types of audiences that you'll encounter. So I'm gonna run through these. I'll give you examples of each, but on your journey, whether it is in here or outside of here, we encounter different audiences. And it really, the key is understanding how you can adjust to each of those audiences. Okay, so the first one, oops, I went back, sorry. The first one is friendly. Now, in a utopia, we'll encounter this 100% of the time. But we know that's not true, right? Yes. So, for the most part, for the most part, we're going to encounter a friendly audience. One that wants to be there, that has a common goal, that is into making a decision and want things to happen. So, friendly audiences are our ideal audience. I will tell you throughout your program here, that's what you're going to find. Many of us are here to support each other, to evoke confidence, and um, just motivate each other. So, in this environment, you can expect friendliness. Does that make you feel better? I hope so. Okay, apathetic. Now, you see the little icon there, but what does apathy mean? And Philip, don't worry. I'll make you feel comfortable. It's my mission, and I don't give up. So what does apathy mean? And you guys can kind of guess from what the icon looks like. Yes, Kayla, no interest. Okay, so apathy is very indifferent. You could even say bored, absolutely, but it's kind of like I don't care either way. So having an apathetic audience is challenging, and the key is really, again, it's knowing your audience. Knowing your audience is going to be something that I say over and over again. So I apologize now that I may sound like a broken record, but that is the theme of this whole month. You knowing your audience, okay? So I have a little story that will illustrate how you could turn an apathetic audience around. I was the firstborn and I wasn't a boy. So my father was determined to teach me the game. He diehard NFL football. So from the moment that I could sit up, I would watch football with him and knew everything, the ins and outs. I wasn't one of those like, oh, the blue guys are going against the red guys. No, I actually knew their names. I knew the plays. I knew the stats, everything. I actually understood. Um, so fast forward, I'm an English teacher. Everyone's favorite subject, I know. And we were coming to the Shakespeare unit. Okay? Now, I'm not saying this to uh I don't care either way. Like whoever's in my class, they're my students. I love them. So, my 6th period class is made up of 18 males. I don't have a problem with that. It's not a big deal to me, but these 18 males were the football team, and I had to teach them Shakespeare. So how do you think that went over when I told them that? Terrible. So I'm not taking away. I'm not taking away. I'm not being sexist. However, their heart's not into Shakespeare. So the first day didn't go over so well. It was, apathy all over the place. I'm trying to teach the elements of a Shakespearean tragedy, very similar to a structure of a regular story. But I think the word Shakespeare had just turned them off. Okay. So, of course, to make a long story short, I felt very defeated after the first day. And thinking about it, reflecting, and something clicked. Wait a minute. This is the football team. I know football. What? I need to speak their language. So I decided that's what I was going to try. Next day in class, um, you know, totally introduction, I made I made a comment about Friday night's game. And that's how I started the class. I was like, oh, do you remember? And I'm not going to bore you with names. I was like, do you remember when the quarterback of the other team threw a pass in the end zone, and Joey, and I pointed to Joey in the class, caught it in the end zone and ran it back for a touchdown? It's like, they're like, yeah, Miss P, that was awesome. That was awesome. That totally turned the game around. And we ended up winning that game. I was like, it was great. It was a great time in the game. And I said, stone faced, I said, turning point, and I walked away. And it was like the heavens opened up and their minds just, light bulbs went off all over the place. And they not only were excited to read Macbeth, they actually wanted to act out the scene where between Macbeth and Macduff at the end. I swear to you, I swear, this is what happened. So yes, I figured out, Shannon, I figured out a way to speak to my audience. And that is why you need to know your audience to adjust and change. You're changing their perspective. You're changing their perspective. Philip, it was actually our linebacker that played Macduff. Um, it was a fun moment. It definitely was a fun moment. I will tell you that. It went down in the books of one of my favorite days as an educator. I will say that. Okay, and then you have uninformed. Now, uninformed is a little bit different, because again, it goes along the line with us as a mentor. It says a lot about us as a mentor. And this is something that I had to adjust for myself. And you don't realize this until you reflect back. So here I am thinking that these are seniors in high school, and how do they not know these concepts? But it's a realization that some people are on all different levels, and you have all different skill levels in one room, and you can't assume things. If you assume things, it gets you in trouble. So what we have to do as a mentor is adjust and understand who is in the room. So if we are presenting something that is over the heads of our audience, it means that we didn't do our research and know who is in front of us. An uninformed audience needs a little bit more finesse. And if you are using billion-dollar words that are industry specific and your audience doesn't really know what they are, you will lose them. So it's really understanding who your audience is to know, and calm down a few notches, because it could come across as very condescending. And if you are trying to build a relationship with your audience, you lose that. They'll have no interest in building a relationship with someone that comes across as beyond them. Understood? Cool. The last one is hostile. Ouch. Hostile is its own animal. And thank you guys for the compliments. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Hostile is another animal. So usually how I go into this is, how many of you have either had a job in customer service or have been a waiter or a waitress? Okay, cool. And I'm sure majority of us here have been. So, my friends, how is it dealing with the general public? Is it all unicorns and rainbows? No, it's not. And unfortunately, we encounter this more than we like to. Again, what it comes down to is understanding your audience. And ultimately, when dealing with a hostile audience, a hostile individual, hostile customer, all they really want when it comes to the heart of it is to be acknowledged. That's all they want. They want to be acknowledged. Not to say any one of these things that I shared with you is 100% foolproof. It's not. All I can do is make you consider the options that you have and try the best that you can in any situation. So in a hostile situation, when a person just wants to hear their own voice, and you know what I'm talking about, I know you know what I'm talking about, you listen and acknowledge. And most of the time, they will take it down a couple of notches that you made the effort to understand what they're saying. Even if you don't agree, you took the time to understand them. And yes, they're acting like 2-year-olds. However, we have no idea what anyone is going through before we encounter them. So it's our job as the mentor to change our perception. As a whole, humans are very defensive people. That's a fact. And I've come to learn that through my years on this earth, that human beings are defensive. That is the first thing that we do, is want to bark back. But we have to realize that wherever this is coming from, it probably started before they got in front of you. So you have to change your perception in that their anger or their lashing out is not personal. It's not towards you. it's something that has been festering. So all you can do as a mentor or as another human being is acknowledge them. And that's all we want as human beings, is to know that we exist to other people. We're not invisible, that people hear what we have to say. And if your intent as the mentor is to build that relationship, then give them a reason to trust you. Make sense? Awesome. Cool. Okay, so this quote right here is the most awesome thing that I ever seen in my life, especially regarding knowing your audience. So, and this is in your books if you ever wanted to go back and refer to it. But designing a presentation without an audience in mind is like writing a love letter and addressing it to whom it may concern. That is amazing because it really puts things in perspective. If you were writing this profound love letter and you wrote to whom it may concern, how long do you think it will take to build a relationship? Never. Or a very long time, okay? So that equates to your presentations and building your personal brand and putting your ideas out there. Let me backtrack. It's awesome to want to share your ideas and want to touch the universe and and share your ideas with the world and change the world. That's amazing. It's very humbling and it's an awesome big picture to have. But think about it. If you throw your idea into the universe, it may take light years to come back, and you may not be on this earth anymore. Sad to say, but it's a reality. The universe is a vast place. You need your idea to stick to something. So I followed this up with this. I come from, now my married name is not Italian, but I'm very much Italian. I grew up in a big Italian family. So one of the first things that I was taught, and God bless my father, was how to make Sunday dinner. So making a whole pot of sauce was almost a rite of passage. Coupled with making a pot of sauce was the way to make pasta perfect. And Italians call it al dente. And so my father taught me how to make pasta the just right, or al dente. And what you do is you take a piece of the pasta out from the boiling pot of water and you throw it up against the wall. If the pasta sticks, you're ready to take it off the heat and serve it. It's just right, or al dente. So I equate that with being the mentor. Your idea or your presentation or your message is the pasta, and you're throwing it up against your audience, and you want to make it stick, because if it doesn't stick, then it's not right, and they're not going to serve your idea to others. It's not ready yet. And that means that your presentation will not come to fruition. If you won't get the results that you need, and the results that you need is building that relationship with your audience. So if you're throwing your pasta in the vast universe, it may not come around until a long time after you're gone. Does that make sense? Cool. So again, knowing your audience is key. Doing the research and knowing whom you're talking to is so important. It's so important. And it's something that when we go into week 2 and we start the planning process, this is going to be the key. Knowing to whom you are talking to get the results that you want. I share this one. I know that you guys are watching your own TEDs, but this one is one of my favorites. So I like to share it with my students. It's less than 6 minutes. The guy's name is Drew Dudley, and his message is awesome. It really is awesome, and he uses story so effectively. He uses different things within his presentation to engage and connect with the audience. It's just such a cool presentation to watch and see, or even be motivated to adopt some of the things. It's very empowering to know that you have capabilities of connecting to your audience in such a way. And this is less than 6 minutes, but there's so much that you can take away. So I encourage you, if you have a spare 6 minutes, to go in and watch it. It's worth it. Okay, lynda.com. Lynda is your best friend. And I posted an announcement, access to Lynda. And if you guys don't mind, we're almost done. If you guys don't mind, I can take you through the process and just show you where things are. It won't take long. Okay, so Lynda is a part of Full Sail, and it's extremely helpful to your journey here. So let me get on Connect if I can. Okay, and that's okay. You guys can look at Snow White for a little while. It's no big deal. Okay, so we're familiar with this. Getting on Full Sail Connect, correct? Cool. Okay. So I'm going to sign in with my campus ID. Oops. No, I'm not a student. I'm faculty. No. Okay. Hold on. Technical difficulties. I don't know why it's reading me as a student. That's interesting. I was a student. Maybe that's why. But okay, here we go. Here we go. We're in business. Okay, so you guys are familiar with this page, yes? Oops, went too fast. Okay, Connect is awesome because it has so much information. It also shows you events that are going on in and around campus. There is On Air, Full Sail On Air, that allows online students to be included in seminars that are held at our campus, which is amazing. When I first went to Full Sail, they didn't have that option. So I'm extremely excited that they put this component that you guys can feel a part of having guest speakers on campus. I still go to these seminars, even though I'm not a student and an instructor, I still make it a point because I think it's so amazing to have these industry professionals come to school and talk about their success and their journey. It's amazing, and it's very uplifting and motivational because here they used to be at Full Sail. They used to be um, sitting in the seats that you sit in. So it's worth it, and I suggest that you go on and check it out. Okay, but the reason why I brought you here is Linda. So if you go to organizations, they have different icons which are in alphabetical order. So it's kind of cool that you could find things. And on here, you'll see the different organizations that we hear at Full Sail. There's so many clubs, and you could be a participant and check them out. Okay, so we're going to L's, and Linda is very close to where the library is. The library is another great resource for you guys to explore. So lynda.com, you'll click on the icon, and then you'll say access to Linda. And as soon as it loads, I'll show you what you guys have access to. Okay, so this would be the home page, and you have access to anything that you want. So if you want to learn things in animation, if you want to learn things about AutoCAD, if you want to explore the photography side of you, it's all here in Lynda. The cool thing about this entity is the people that make these videos are industry professionals that use the program. In some cases, it's the people that wrote the programs. Uh, However, all of it is people that are successful using these things. So it's not a 12-year-old on YouTube trying to tell you how to upload a video. It's actually industry professionals. And it goes further. So when you watch a tutorial or you go through a training session on Lynda, it gives you a certificate of completion. So if you go into certificates, it's going to give you something like this. It'll give you the video again, but it also gives you an option to share on social media or your LinkedIn profile. So if you go into a tutorial and you learn Adobe Photoshop, you now have that skill. You have a certificate to show that you have those skills. You could put that on your resume. You could put that into your portfolio. You now have proof that you have that skill. So, my friends, if you want to, and this is where I say that research is so important, explore your degrees, know what is coming, and you could even go on Lynda ahead of time and learn the program or introduce yourself to a program and have an idea of what it is that you're going to encounter. And by introducing yourself to programs that are going to come down the pike in your program or on your path, you now have a leg up on using that software that is coming to you. So I highly recommend that you use Lynda throughout your entire program, and it will enhance your presentations. It will enhance your portfolios. It will enhance the learning experience that you have here at Full Sail. Guaranteed. I use Lynda all the time. One of the things that I use constantly now is Twitter, and I didn't realize all of the things that Twitter can do. It's amazing. You think that it's a little bird icon and an annoying app, just another app for you to pay attention to, but the connections that I have through Twitter is amazing. So, and I owe that to Lynda. I sat through the tutorial, I watched the videos, and then I made my account. I went through all the steps, and I couldn't be happier. And that's just one aspect. I've gone through so many different things through Lynda. So I encourage for that to be a part of your learning experience here. It's so worth it, and it really makes you have a leg up of the whole experience. Okay, there is a final project here, and our this month is set up for that success. So each week is going to build towards this final project. You are not going to reinvent the wheel. You're actually going to go through a journey of the value of the process. Okay, so this first week is introducing you guys of understanding what an audience needs. So you really need to understand an audience before you become the mentor. The final project has a lot to do with your journey here at Full Sail, building your personal brand, and that is what week 2 is going to be about. We're going to discuss personal branding, where you are with building your personal brand and where you're going to go, and empowering you to understand that you have the capabilities of fulfilling your dreams. It's really up to you about how you want to take advantage of your path, and this month is going to show you all the capabilities and make you start thinking about your goals and how to accomplish those goals. Hi, Mario. Yes, to answer that question, of course, this is recorded and I will post this. Like I posted the first recorded session. So what you'll see now, and I'm glad that you brought that up. So what you'll see now after Thursday's session is that I post something called Week 1 Reminders. So after Monday's session, it's Week 1 Breakdown. And after Thursday's session, it's Week 1 Reminders. And you guys will see that today because this is in the middle of the day. Monday's session is late, so I usually don't post until the morning, but you will see this recording probably an hour after we get out of the session. It takes a minute to render the video and upload it to my YouTube channel. Okay, so all I want you guys to be thinking of when it comes to the final project is the beginning, that calls to adventure. So thinking about that moment of revelation, that moment that you thought that you knew innately what your heart desired. Mario, they're available in my YouTube channel. So I'll be sharing the link to my YouTube where it's uploaded to YouTube. So you will have that link. If it's someone outside of this class and you want to share the link that I give you, by all means, go ahead and share the link with them. I have no problem with that. Cool. Okay, so as far as the final project, all I want you guys to be thinking of is that moment that spoke to your heart. And write it down. Write it down all over the place. And remind yourself of that passion, because you will find your why. You will find the why you're doing what you're doing. And that's going to make a lot more sense in week 2. But just trust me that it's a process, and I'm getting you to think in that process form. Cool? Cool. Okay, so we have about 9 minutes left, I guess, of our session, and I will ask you guys if you have any questions. Any questions on week 1, what you need to do, anything that you may not understand? Okay, is there a minimum amount of slides for PowerPoints? No, there's not. That's a good question, but there's not. There's no minimum requirement for slides. Cool. All right, Aaron has his hand up. Aaron, you're muted. There you go. What's your question?
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, I couldn't type. I'm actually at work. But I just wanted to clarify. So you said that we didn't need in the beginning of this, we didn't need 30 different qualities, like 10 for each person, because that's actually what I thought at first too. But then, so you did say that it's just 10 for the whole project, right? So it's not going to be 10 per TED Talk presentation.
Correct. It's 10
Okay.
overall. So it's your observation from all 3 presentations. And what
Okay.
all I'm looking for is that you have the quality and you are providing an example to illustrate that quality from any one of the 3 presentations. And
Oh,
you can even use 2 or 3 examples.
okay. And does this also go for the for I think it was the second step too of actually giving our suggestions or what we would have liked to seen and stuff like that?
That's going to be in your evaluation. So when you're evaluating your TED Talks, that's what I
Uh-huh.
want to see. Like, evaluation is not a summary. They're different. So what you're going to talk about is what you are taking away from the presentations. So whether it's positive or negative, it's awesome to have that balance, because you'll find out things that you may not, that doesn't appeal to you, or you may not use as a mentor. So either positive and negative, it is a great way to build your toolbox of what you want to accomplish when you become a mentor.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you very much. I just wanted to make sure that I understood that correctly.
Of course, and thank you so much for coming while you're at work. Awesome.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Okay, let me see. There's some things. Okay, Sierra asks, is it an essay or a PowerPoint? Are you talking about the assignments, a 1.4, or the discussion board? The TED Talk activity. Yeah, it's basically just you're evaluating 3 different TEDs and you're talking about what you took away from the presentation. And then third step is those 10 qualities and giving examples to illustrate those qualities. Oh, Aaron, awesome. And like I said, I'll address the whole class with this. When it comes to create a presentation, you guys are all different. You have different skill levels, you have different access to things. You're working on different platforms, whether it is a laptop or a phone or a tablet. So there's so many different things that you have access to. We do not teach the technology in this class because of that, because all of you have different access to different things. So it's actually a cool thing because you have creative freedom when it comes to the delivery of your presentation. So in that announcement, week 1 breakdown, I actually give you some suggestions, and they range from a Word document all the way into using Google Drive, which is an online platform that creates a presentation online and produces a URL. So you don't have to worry about saving a presentation or corrupting a file. It's right online. So it's all about what you feel comfortable using. And I don't have any preference. I'm not going to take points off for using any particular program. It's all about how you deliver the concepts. That is what I'm looking for. Are you utilizing what you're learning in the reading to support your answers? Are you using examples from the presentation? You're not just giving me a list. Are you choosing images that effectively complement what you're saying? That's what I'm looking for. Does that make sense? Sweet. Okay, my friends. Well, it was a pleasure, and thank you so much for spending your morning with me, morning, afternoon, or even if you're overseas, it may be late at night, so I don't know. But thank you so much for spending this time with me. As always, this is recorded, and I will be posting it. If you have any questions, outside of this and you're like, oh man, I should have asked Miss P, you know where to find me. Message me, shoot me an email, text me, whatever you need to get your question answered. I look forward to continuing to read your stories on the discussion. The next 2 days, I'll be going in and reading your stories, and it's one of my favorite things to do. So I look forward to that. Remember that you guys need to go back into the discussion board and comment on at least 2 of your classmates. If you're shooting to that exceptional side of the rubric, then more than the minimum required. But thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and if I don't speak to you, have a great weekend.